Hey everybody, this is grimcity, long time no review. We're going to be talking about the Wrecking Crew Berserker. This is a deck with a shape on it. It's about 8.6 in width. We're going to be talking about the new Thunder 149s, and we're also going to take a look at the Formula Fours. The one-skated are the 101s, but they also have a 99 durometer right here. And just gonna make this quick. We're gonna go right to the breaking in and getting used to the setup, and then after that maybe we can geek out a little bit. starting with the deck, I think it's pretty obvious I had a good time on it. One of the things that you're going to notice about the entire Wrecking Crew series of decks is that they have shapes, which in the general skateboarding world, you're going to notice that a lot of companies have started to do shapes. And by that, I mean shapes that aren't necessarily those that look like a big pill. What Deluxe did with the Wrecking Crew series is they actually did some decks that were inspired by some old school Real decks. And so, you know, Real having the history, they were able to go back and based on that inspiration, give us some really neat shapes. And in particular, this Berserker I found was really fun. The Berserker does come with rails. I did not ride them, but it did come with them, and they seem to be really good quality, just like I remember from back when I used to skate rails, kind of in the 80s and 90s. I grew up in an era where boards shaped like this Zig Zagger were truly the boards that we skated for everything, from street to ramp to park to whatever we had. These days, this would really be more of a cruiser, but looking again on the Berserker, I think that we can see that there's maybe a little bit more functionality as far as that word applies to skateboarding today. Again, squared off tail tapers out as we go up to the top, and then we've got that big blunt nose. And last little bit of information, this really badass grip tape was made by Alchemy Grip. It has no holograms in it, and it's made of awesome. Next up are the Thunder 149s, and the only analog that I have to compare the 149s are actually 147s. I tend to ride 147s, and on top of that, I tend to skate decks that are 8.2 something up to about 8.5-ish. Now, for the purposes of comparison, I've got, this is just a set of Thunder lights. These use the same mold as all of the 147s that I have. The only difference would possibly be the base plate, as certain Thunders have different designs on the base plate, but functionally they're the same. So you can kind of see here that the bigger ones, the 149s, are relatively the same. You can look at them and say those are Thunders, but it seems that they're a bit leaner. Now, aside from the 149s just being slightly wider than 147s, which again is my really only comparative truck, they've also brought the axle up a little bit higher from the base plate. And the first most obvious impact of this is that you're going to have to deal with a little bit less wheel bite than normal, if you deal with it at all. I know some people like to crank their trucks down. I tend to ride mine a little bit looser, and with these I've actually loosened them up even more than I normally ride my 147s. And now these are examples of wheel bite, so it's not to say that it's going to completely eradicate them if you ride your trucks a little bit looser. But to be quite frank, I don't find wheel bite a problem because I tend to roll a little bit faster. And if you find that wheel bite is making you stop all the time, consider pushing just one more time before you do that trick. Speed really does help to alleviate a lot of the aggravation that wheel bite can cause. Now here I think is probably one of the best views you could possibly have of these. Now in this case, these are Thunder titanium lights, and right here are the Thunder 149s, and I think this is probably one of the better views you could ask for to see the dramatic yet subtle difference between the two trucks. Now the geometry of the trucks, and when I refer to the geometry, I'm referring to all of the mechanics that are going on over here at the base plate, where we have the lower bushing, and right here on the hanger we have the part that goes into your pivot cup. Now you can notice definitely that right here on the 149s that this extension of the hanger going into the pivot cup is a lot longer than the extension coming out of these 147s. But the geometry itself feels the same. The Thunders still have that really sporty quick turn to them. And one thing that I usually refer to whenever I'm talking about Thunders, usually the argument, not with everybody, everybody's got their own flavor in trucks, but it's always Indy and Thunder. I always say with Indy, it has a great smooth turn. They're a beautiful truck, of course, but with Thunder, I always found that the turn is sportier. It's a slightly quicker turn. Now with both of them, you're going to be carving all day. But for those of you that know exactly what I'm talking about and that characteristic of Thunder trucks, I think you're going to find that you're going to have a very equivalent feeling coming out of the 149s as you would with the 147s if that's a truck that you normally ride. Now, one thing about the 149s is they are marketed for boards that are in the 8.2 plus range. Now, normally, as I mentioned before, I ride decks that are in that 8.2 plus range, and normally with the 147s I have a slight countersinking deal going on with my wheels, or my wheels might be slightly inside of the deck itself. To me, it's a comfortable feeling. Now for this, I could feel that there is a wider stance with the wheels, like the patching of the wheels definitely covers a lot more area. I think that it feels more stable. Not that I felt instability in my previous setup, but the thing that I'm trying to say is that making the jump was not hard. Wasn't difficult at all. And now that I've got it set up on the States Yachts, I'm really looking forward to riding this on a regular popsicle shaped deck, having ridden the Berserker. It's going to work out really nice. Now, for anybody that's been following this channel for a significant amount of time, you all know that I am a very big fan of Deluxe and have been very supportive of the products they make. And you will also know that I've always been a really big fan of the F1s. I've got to say that the Formula Fours have converted me over. I haven't really ridden any F1 since the Formula Fours came out. And for full disclosure, I'll say that I've also ridden the prototype wheels that they were working on when they were trying to come up with that new urethane composition since the F1s and now with the F4s. On top of riding the Formula 4 prototypes that came in between the F1 and these F4s, I have ridden a number of 101s, and I've ridden a few sets of the 99 durometer Formula 4s, and I really love them a lot. They're practically indestructible, and I'm not saying they're totally indestructible. I'm not going to say that you couldn't go out there and find some cheese grater like concrete and try to do flatland blunt slides at full speed and maybe create a flat spot on purpose, but I will say that an accidental flat spot is going to be really unlikely on these things because they are tough as hell. As you can see, both of these are in the classic shape. The 99 durometers are 53 millimeter and the 101s are 54 millimeter, or at least they were originally. May have shaved down a millimeter or two. For me, 54, 53, 55, those are kind of like my magic areas. I think that they're big enough to help compensate for really horrible concrete, which some of the best spots that I skate are located in the middle of really horrible concrete. But at the same time, they're great on park, and I don't find them to be so large that they feel weighty or throw off the balance the balance of the board itself. Comparatively speaking, these are 56 millimeter Spitfire ADHDs, and I've ridden 56 millimeter wheels of this size before in different urethanes. To me, that gets to be a little bit too large, and so if I'm flinging the board around, I can actually start to feel the weight of the wheel having a real effect on the way the board does its flips or the way that I fling it or do shove-its and whatnot. That's not to say that it makes the whole setup really heavy, but I can feel where the heaviness is located, especially when trying to fling the board around. But it's perfect for cruising, in my own opinion. Well, I've definitely cannibalized all of the parts from everything. Although these wheels are the 99s, and in the video you saw me skating the 101s, you can see that the Berserker is really a nice happy medium in between a cruiser and your typically shaped street deck. Last words on the deck itself, I would say that as far as the concave goes, the concave is kind of on the medium side. It's pronounced, but it's not crazy deep. You're not going to be eating cereal off the top of your board. As far as the general audience for this skateboard, I mean, I think there's a little bit here for everybody. The older skate rats like me are gonna have fun being able to kind of rehash and enjoy their glory days when boards had shapes. And I think for a lot of younger skaters that you can really get an opportunity to see what a deck with a shape is all about. It's a different riding experience than riding a popsicle shaped board, but it's a whole hell of a lot of fun. And if it's in your budget to experiment a little bit, you know, grab a board with a shape on it and make it your primary ride for a little bit and have a good time. I can't really think of anything else to say other than I had a blast on everything, and I'm going to continue to have a blast on the wheels, and I'm going to continue to have a blast on the trucks. And if you have any questions or if you have any additional information that I didn't provide, please, you know, type them out in the comments and tell the world. And that's about it. Just get out there, go have a good time, skate however you want to skate, and don't let anybody tell you different. Thank you very much. Peace. Sorry, so sweaty. Welcome to Louisiana.